Hey, Tim here from Candid TV. If you're somebody who loves hosting and you like the outdoors, I think you're really gonna love this outdoor projector setup, including a blow-up projector screen that I'm gonna show you here today. This would be great for movie nights, outdoor gaming nights, using this at events where you can show a slideshow or something like that on this. And this would be great for Super Bowl parties as well. Now, our friends have a ton of outdoor space, so we use this over there a lot. We did a Halloween outdoor movie last year. We did another movie out by their pool this year. So I'm gonna show you some of that footage here. I'm gonna give you kind of a good idea of like what you would need for this type of setup. I've been reviewing these type of projectors for the past like 6 years now, so I have some tips and stuff I want to share with you that's going to help maximize your experience. So you can see unboxing this, the black portion of this is a nice durable material. That is what blows up and inflates. This also has a white fabric screen, and that is washable, but it works really well. And the other thing is it does not wrinkle. So compared to a lot of the other budget screens that you buy on Amazon, a lot of those even come folded up, so they arrive with creases that you have to contend with and deal with. And then you got to either try doing a steamer or something like that to get those out. So with this, there's really no hassle. You just fold it up, put it back out, and since it's fabric, it's nice and light, and it'll be good for your next use as well. Now, the screen is 192 inches diagonal. This exact one you'll see here is this Holiday Styling brand, but there are other options out there as well. This essentially has a powered blower, and it's got a relatively quiet motor on it, but that stays on the whole time in order to keep this thing inflated. So you inflate the base there, and you tie this hose part around the blower so that that's kind of where the air gets channeled through. But especially with some help, you really can have this set up in about 10 minutes. The blower actually inflates this a lot quicker than I first anticipated. It truly does only take a couple minutes for this thing to be blown up. You can see here we did it accidentally upside down the first time, but once you kind of get that down and you have this all laid out properly, you literally plug that in and the whole black part gets inflated, and that's your base. And then you Velcro the screen on. So it's actually a separate piece, but yeah, you Velcro that around all the edges there. You can kind of see what that looks like, the process of putting that together there. With this one, which is the 16-foot version, you do have to kind of reach to get that very top edge of the screen there. So it may be helpful to have a little stool or chair to stand up on for this. And then the 19-foot one's going to be obviously a little bit bigger, so you probably would need one for that as well. So the other nice thing with this screen is this one is very durable and it's pretty sturdy. We've used this a couple of times now, and none of the times we've actually had to use the tie downs that are included. So you'll see on the edges of this, on the bottom and up all the way on the top of the screen too, there's actually some tie down anchor points. So it comes with the rope, and it comes with some of the stakes where you can actually stake this down. So like I said, we didn't have to use those yet, but if you are definitely going to be using this in a scenario where there is a little bit more wind, I would try to use that and make sure that you're not going to have this thing blow around your yard. Now, this does work with either rear or front projection setups. Basically, the front projection setup would mean you're going to have something in front of the screen there, so you're going to have it up on the table or a tripod or something, and you're projecting at the front of the screen. The rear projection is nice, and pretty much even all of these budget options have it nowadays. You set it to the rear projection, you can put it behind the screen, and it kind of flips it for you. And that way you have all the bulk of your setup back there and it's out of the way. People can then sit in front of the screen and be a little bit closer. Or in the instance like I showed you here, where we're using it in front of a pool, you don't have to worry about having all that stuff up close in front of a pool. You can actually just throw it all behind the screen. So whether you want to use an extension cord and then just use a table out there, or if you do want to use like a tripod type setup, you can kind of see both scenarios here. The one time we did it with a table there, the other time I had my projector set up on a tripod. So I'll put some options down there in the description and comments you can take a look at too. A lot of the time that tripod's nice because you can really kind of dial in the angles and the height of your projector. And with these budget projector options, screen size essentially just comes from how far or how close you are to the screen. So the further away you move back, that's going to fill up the screen. The closer you get to it, it's going to result in a smaller picture. For sound quality, you can see in these instances here, we used my friend's huge Bluetooth Ion speakers. So that is really nice. It was super loud. It was definitely loud enough to hear the movie in the yard and have multiple people spread out all over the place, and there's no issues with the audio volume. However, when you're using Bluetooth with these, there's always going to be some bit of delay, so it depends on kind of how picky you are. If that's something that's really going to bother you, you're probably not going to want to go the Bluetooth route, but it's nice because a lot of these projectors have Bluetooth built in, and then if you use something like a Fire Stick hooked up to this, those also have Bluetooth capabilities built in, so you're able to just pair to that with the speaker. For no latency, however, I would recommend going wired, and you can use an aux cable that you run from the projector on the 3.5mm audio jack, which basically all of those have, and then you run that line into your speaker directly. And again here, the louder you can be with your speakers, if you have some bigger options, maybe like an 80-watt speaker, 100-watt speaker, something like that, those all sound pretty good. And for the most part, those are gonna get plenty loud enough for movie night or game night like this. For streaming with this projector, one of the things I'd recommend is always to just go hardwired with this as well. So whether you have an old DVD player and you wanna go old school route and put an actual disc in there and play a movie that way, or you can use something like a Fire Stick, a Roku player, etc. And then as long as you have Wi-Fi, you're gonna be able to sign into your accounts. You can use that native interface on that device, and typically that's gonna be a lot easier and more user-friendly than any of these projector interfaces anyway. So there you can have access to your apps and whatever you have on that device, whether it's your Fire Stick, Roku player, etc. And you can open up things like YouTube, Prime Video, Netflix, Hulu, etc. As far as recommendations, this Vizoni projector here is actually one that I would recommend. They're a sponsor of the channel, and they had sent over this projector that I recently reviewed, and I'll link to the full review of that, but it has a lot of nice features. It's a native 1080p. It's nice too because it has a zoom out feature, so if you're too close to it, you can always zoom out digitally and it'll just come out about 75%. So there's a lot of different setup options. It also has electronic autofocus, so that's really nice. You don't have to deal with any manual keystone or autofocus wheels on this model either.
So when you're all done for the night and then you're ready to take this down, it's very simple actually to break this down. You're just going to take that screen back off, and then you are going to go ahead and then you're going to unplug the blower. So like I said, when you're setting this up, it actually breaks down pretty easy too. There is an actual zipper on the black part you can open up to kind of help let some of that air out as well. And for when you're folding it back up, I would recommend that when you're doing this that you kind of let it sit out too, or at least maybe the next day to kind of let it dry off. A lot of time when we were using this at nighttime, it did kind of accumulate a bit of dew on it. But you also get this nice carrying case and bag. So if you're bringing this over to a friend's house or taking this to an event or something like that, you know how it can be with trying to actually get it folded up and fitting back into the same exact bag as before. But you can kind of see everything that comes with this here. And the nice thing I just want to show you is that you actually get some patches too. So it gives you this patch kit. So if you were to actually, you know, maybe puncture this on a stick or something like that, you can fix this yourself and you're not going to be out of your money. So I think it's a really great value overall, and you can see here you get everything you need with this.
It's actually lasted, it's going on about a year now that I've had this, so it has lasted and it's doing great. As far as the screen that I showed here, I'll put the exact link to that down in the description and comments as well. You can kind of take a look at that. Even if you don't go with that one, there's other options that are very similar. They all kind of have this blowing motor. You know, typically you're gonna Velcro the screen on and the process will be the same. But check the comments and description. I'll put some of my other recommendations for a projector setup like this so that you can have your best setup outdoors. If you have any questions, drop them down there below in the comment section, or if you have any tips yourself or anything you do differently with your projector setup, let us know down there below. Check out there, popping up will be that Vizoni projector review. I think that's a really good option. That would be something that would do great in a setup like this. So please like the video if you found this helpful, subscribe for projector and home theater reviews like this. Take care, I'll see you on the next one.